Raise your hand. We'll bring a mic around to you if you have any questions. Reminder for no live streaming. And Coach, it's on you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you being here. Looking forward to kicking this thing off. Our kids reported for camp last night, but I'll open with some roster and injury updates. On Ra, I had a chance to sit down and meet with him face to face Tuesday, which I think was really important, and let him know that he can no longer be a part of the football team. And he understands that, and we wish him nothing but the best moving forward. In terms of injuries and things we have coming into camp, I think I've got a note here from Ron. We've got some guys that are banged up from the summer and just different injuries. Warren Brinson's dealing with an Achilles tendon, so he'll be in and out. It's an opposite one of one he had in spring, but it's not long. We injected it, and he should be back shortly. Marcus Harrison's dealing with a stress reaction on his foot, should be back shortly. Jordan Hall has a tibia stress fracture that we ended up having to do surgery on. We expect a full recovery. He'll be back hopefully by the first game, but he will be close. Ty Ingram is coming back from an injury that he's dealt with. He's not 100%, but he's close. Smile is able to do some stuff, not everything, but he's almost back. And then Chris Field had a labral repair at the end of spring, so he'll be limited a little bit. Branson will start practice without limitations, but we will have some load management with him. And then Cole Spears dealing with a little bit of mid-foot sprain. But you guys will see most of those guys that I've named involved in some way in practice. Some are just completely out, but others aren't. So we're able to bring 120 into camp. I'm fired up about that. That's good numbers for us. As you know, in the future, it won't be that. So we've got good depth in camp, and we're looking forward to creating some mental and physical adversity through the heat and through practices that we can kind of start to form our team. So with that, I'll open it up to you guys.
Yeah, Coach, what's something going into camp that you don't necessarily know for a fact about your team that you're hoping to have an answer about prior to the first game?
That last statement, what's our response going to be to the mental and physical adversity they face? I don't know that in spring practice you can simulate that. We try to simulate it in summer conditioning program, but it's not the same as having all these pads on, helmets on, equipment on, and I can't simulate the heat they're going to have with that equipment on. So I don't know how this team's going to respond to when stuff gets hard and stuff gets tough and guys start complaining to each other and they're not running and they're not getting to the ball and practice is tiring. But that's what camp is. Our introduction last night was very deep into why do you have a training camp? What is the purpose of a training camp? It's to build the toughness within our team.
At all those, Kirby, I think Branson Robinson news is probably the most surprising, I guess, to put it. Can you put in context the fact that he's able to go without limitations seems very encouraging about him being able to contribute not only this season but early in the season?
Well, I don't know what the number of months is. It seems like it's almost a year because it happened pre-season last year. So I think it's not a shock to me that he's able to start and go without limitations. But the load management is critical because you can't take someone who hasn't done everything and just throw them into everything. So we have to be smart about that. But it's certainly promising because I thought going into I forget what practice it was he got injured last year, but he was having a really good camp. He looked really good, and I remember thinking, golly, this guy was getting ready to have a great season, great camp, and then he has to go back, and you forget the blitz pickups. You forget all the things that he missed out on that he didn't get a chance to do that he'll be doing now, and I know he's looking forward to it. We're excited to get him out there.
Kirby, with the NCAA allowing support staffers to coach on the field, games and practices, what does that mean in terms of how does it work for you guys out there this August?
Well, we'll use more coaches now and have the ability to maybe move some coaches around in terms of if you've got one drill going on, you've got another person that's allowable coach that maybe has really good experience coaching or knows our system to be an extra set of eyes, ears, and coach guys. So we're excited about that. I'm excited at some of the special teams periods. We're going to be able to take kids that aren't in special teams where we had a lot of our coaching dedicated to special teams. We have people on the outside now that may be able to do special teams and free our coaches up to to give a little time to guys that aren't in, like skill development. A guy can go over there and work on things he needs to work on and not lose time. So it's helpful organizationally to do that.
Your team has already been picked first in SEC Media Days, and there's an expectation you will be very high, if not at the very top in preseason rankings. This is not necessarily new for your team the last few years. Does that familiarity help you and your players deal with the expectations that come with these picks?
Yeah, I don't feel like we're familiar with it because we just don't pay attention to it. You know, you guys are probably more familiar with it than we are in terms of like, well, that's the expectation. They're going to start the season top 5, or they're going to be predicted to win the East or West when it was there, or they're going to be predicted to win the SEC. I've never honestly paid any attention to it, and we don't talk about it as a team. So the expectation is we're going to develop and worry about today's day, and not really, we don't think about that.
Coach, over the summer, were you able to identify any team leaders, and do you still operate with a leadership council? And if so, how is that made up?
Yeah, we identify with team leaders, and we have groups within our team that are leadership. And I don't divulge what I do individually with players or with a group, but that's something that we've always employed. And we can't develop leadership at the top if you don't start with kids when they enter. And that's part of our school session process. That's part of our leadership training we do, and where we take guys in the summer. And we definitely started that, and that's very important. And we think it's a key to our success, which is mindset over muscle.